Okay, so now the fun begins. So next up we have a little bit of a double act, and I'd like to introduce it, Emily and Caroline.
Thank you. Right, let's get this over and done with. Hello, my name's Emily, and I'm an alcoholic. Sorry, I'm Emily, and this is Caroline. Caroline's my stooge for tonight. Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, as you all know, it falls upon me and Caroline to say a little bit about the Blushing Brides. Naturally, this wasn't really a task that either of us particularly relished, but unfortunately the original after-dinner speaker is currently self-isolating in a northern corner of the room somewhere. I mean, not literally, sorry. Incidentally, a little bit of housekeeping. If you've recently travelled to northern Italy, if you could just please leave quietly at the back door now. Caroline, probably we should put our PPE on at this point. Incidentally, if you're easily offended, well, earphones have been provided on your tables, and if you're easily offended, please put them in now. Friend, that's your cue. So I met Helen about 10 years ago when I was her senior house officer at the Royal London Hospital. So Helen described me as her biggest disappointment when I left emergency medicine for a challenging and thrilling career in general practice. At the age of 34, I became the youngest GP partner in Bethnal Green and subsequently a GP partner in Hackney, winning various awards for...
No, it's not about you, it's not about you, it's about
Sorry, that's the point. It was through Helen that I met the wonderful, fun-loving, kind-hearted Mandy. We cemented our friendship on various glamorous holidays all around the world, including Provincetown, Bali, Austria and Whitstable. They were in fact the witnesses to me and my own wedding, where Mandy had the bouquet ripped out of her hand by one of the other guests. And I was hoping at this point to show you my wedding video, or a small clip from it. But slightly strange and unforeseen, mysterious IT hitch means that it's not available. But I'm hoping to show you all at the after party and possibly tomorrow and the day after. So, watch this space. This slot is traditionally an opportunity for the best men to thank. To acknowledge the bridesmaids and how beautiful they look. I want to say, they look beautiful. They're charming and interesting, neatly coordinated outfits of short hair, brogues, jackets, and short fingernails.
She wears. Some bridesmaids.
I want to thank you all, particularly for sending in your anecdotes about the happy couple. There was so much material that it's very hard to bake it down into this 42-minute speech. But so instead of that, I'm going to avoid you all falling asleep and I have to play a very quick game of Mrs. and Mrs. And I don't know whether you know how this works, but essentially I'm going to ask you a series of questions, about 12. We're going to do a dummy round, and I want you all to stand up. There will be a prize at the end for the person who's still standing. And each question I want it'll be about a question about Helen or Mandy. And if you think it's Helen that did this, you put your hands on your head. And if you think it's Mandy, you put your hands on your bum. So that's head to Helen, butt to Mandy. Alright, we got it? Head to Helen, butt to Mandy. So if you can all stand up. No, you don't have to stand up because you're not part, you know the answers, hopefully. I mean, maybe not, it's questionable. So, and if you win, the last person standing wins tickets to Whitstable Pride. And when I say wins tickets, I actually mean you're going to help me organise it, alright? So, question number one. This is a dummy round, just so you all get the game. So, for example, if I would say, who is a medical doctor? Is it heads for Helen or muff for Mandy? Do that, yeah. So, anyone put their hands on their bum, sit down. Because you're wrong, she's not. She's a tennis coach, remember? So, that's a dummy round, here we go. So, starting with a really easy question. Who used to holiday with Margaret Thatcher? Heads for Helen, muff for Mandy. Heads for Helen, muff for Mandy. And the answer is muff for Mandy. Well done. Put their hands on their heads, sit down. Well done. You did. You all got that right. Well done. Which of our two handsome brides had the nickname Chip at school? Heads for Helen, muff for Mandy.
Can you repeat that?
Which of our two handsome brides had the nickname Chip at school? The answer is
Helen.
Helen. So if you put your hands in your bum, sit down, please. Next question. Who said, call yourself a country, you couldn't even run a corner shop while on holiday in Greece? That's Helen, muff for Mandy. Sorry, it was the, I probably gave the game away with the, who said, call yourself a country, you can even run a corner shop? Heads or Mandy? The answer is? Mandy! Well done. Okay, next question. Who got a criminal record at age 4 for shoplifting? Heads, Helen, left for Mandy. And the answer is? Mandy! Very close. Next question. Who nearly got stuck in a serving hatch in order to crash a party? Heads for Helen, muff for Mandy. And the answer is? Mandy! Question number 7. Who literally never, including today, wears pants? Muff for Mandy. The answer is Helen. Well done. It's going to get more difficult now. Who allowed Pickle to be completely, Pickle's dog by the way, to be completely covered in stickers to keep a small child happy? Heads for Helen, muff for Mandy. Mandy, sit down. Okay, now question number 8. Who is the first to get naked on holiday in a pool? Heads for Helen, muff for Mandy. Okay, how many people have we got left? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, a few more. Okay, last 2 questions. I think this is an easy one. Who reads the Sun newspaper? Don't cheat, guys. Let's tell them off for Mandy, and the answer is Helen. Okay. Final question. Who went on an extensive tour of the Middle East in more ways than one? Let's tell them off for Mandy.
Emily didn't want to cry. So my name's Caroline. I've worked with Helen since 2003. Mandy and I probably agree that Helen actually kind of saved my life in a sense about 10 years ago with a pig's cheek that could have made its way into the quiz. There's probably a number of people in this room, so thank you very much. Thank you, I owe you my life. But thank you. So anyway, I wanted to do this, and I wanted to stop Emily crying, because actually that was kind of quite lengthy, and I'm really conscious of people outside. So we've done the absent friends thing, and I just wanted, there's a few other absent friends that aren't here that I wanted to just remind you of, and of course the best man always has a telegram, so I'm reading from a telegram here. So, Mace and Debs are from Australia. They say, and I don't fully understand this, we are gutted that we can't make it to be with you today. We love you and miss you. We'd like to know if vodka, gold flakes or fertiliser are being served tonight. And if so, we'll be on the next plane over to join you for the weekend. Well, I can't imagine what that's all about. Anyway, we love you, and there's lots of people that aren't here, and there's a whole list of them, but Mace and Debs in particular I know that you miss. So here's a sentimental bit, right? So we conducted an intergenerational survey on what people thought about you to try and dig up a bit of dirt, as Emily's already said. Actually, it's really rubbish. There were very little fake news, very little gossip. You're all too nice. But there were a few things that I thought we should share from the free text of that survey, and 3 things. So, firstly, a child who was wowed by your generosity with both dogs and sport, who just said they're funny and kind and generous and they're lovely. So, thank you. So you're touching a younger generation. Secondly, a doctor isn't in this room, so it's not one of you lot, right? Who said, Helen Canone is one of the best team builders I've ever worked with. She's made everybody feel special and included. She didn't keep the best medicine for the grown-ups. She's an amazing medic, and I learned so much from her. And I think that's, people won't say that. And thirdly, and there's someone else in this room that will definitely recognise these words, and I won't embarrass her, but they are the kindest, loving and most thoughtful friends that I have. Despite their busy lives, they both give unconditional love and friendship. 2 of the most charismatic people I've ever met, and my life is blessed to have them in it. It's no fun story. They are just the best. And that kind of says it for all of us, doesn't it? So there's a sentimental bit. So Helen and Mandy and Helen, it's only taken you 26 years to do this, right? So we're delighted to be here, and we're delighted to help you finally sort out the tax bill. And we absolutely love you, and now we're going to make you all sing a song. So underneath your plates is a song, right? I'm turned deaf, so I need a bit of help. Robin! So I'd like you to join with me for the first 2 verses. Robin, love in the air. Stand up. I've got a lead on this. Robin's going to join. 1, 2, 3. Love is in the air, everywhere around. Love is in the air, every sign and every sound. I don't know if I'm being foolish, I don't know if I'm being wise, but it's something that I must believe in, and it's there when I look in your eyes. Love is in the air, in the whisper of the trees. Love is in the air, in the thunder of the sea. And I don't know if I feel freedom, I don't know if I feel safe, but it's something that I must believe in, and it's there when you call out my name. Love is in the We're done.
We've had tears, we've had laughter, we've had nobody peg it, so I think that's a good morning. So. Success rate, 100%. So I'd like to introduce Ken, who is Helen's father, who's going to start us off with a couple of words.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I always like to address the furthest person in the room without a microphone. Can you hear me? Okay, if you wish me to carry Okay, this is easy. So what we're going to do, well, I don't always like microphones, but I know how to use them, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the microphone. And what I'm going to, I don't want to look at you, this is my wife, Natalie Weir, she always does. First of all, do you know who I am? Okay, I'm Ken, and I'm Helen Scadd. That's a good start. Okay, it's lovely to see you all here. I know that a lot of you are medical and they're difficult buggers, and sports people are even worse. Okay, right, we're going a little bit into English grammar.
Yes!
We're going to talk first, very briefly, about the first person singular. What's that? I, me. We're going to talk about me, just for a short while. Now, as you can see, I'm an old bugger. I've been around a long time. I can remember the Second World War. I can remember the day it broke out and I cried. Because I didn't know her and she wasn't born. I cried when the Second World War broke out on the day. And I cried because I didn't really understand what it was, but fighting between countries was not a good idea. The grown-ups were all upset and worried, and I cried. End of that. Scroll forward 80 years, I'm really old now. Never in my life has one of my daughters got married. It's a first. First person singular. Me, I, done with. We're now moving on to the first person plural. What's that?
We.
We, us, I, and guess who?
Friend.
That's right.
We.
Francis, aka Fryn, and I, we're we. And today is our wedding anniversary. Is that an incredible coincidence? No. But it's still a cock-up. Because what happened was that our diamond wedding was last year, 1 year ago, and this is our 61st. But Helen, being a mathematical wizard, planned it that Helen and Mandy's wedding would be on the day of our diamond wedding anniversary. But she got it wrong. And that's why we're here today on our 61st wedding anniversary. It's all about now that's just a preamble. The important bit is the third person plural.
They.
They, Helen and Mandy. And that's why we're all here, aren't we? Okay, so about 25 years ago, at my 60th birthday party, Helen turned up, and she just split with Catherine, who's here. Oh, God. And Mandy was... Catherine, stand up. Catherine, lovely Catherine, and she's here, and it's great to see her. And then Mandy came on the scene. And you know, this is my 60th wedding anniversary. I'm wearing a bloody funny hat that the bloke aspires moustache or something, and Helen wrote this news. And she told her, she told me, and then she said, it won't last. It won't last. 25 years later, what's happening? It won't last.
Yay!
And what has actually happened is that over those 25 years, they've gradually grown closer. They've had loads of bumps, as we all have. You know, loads of bumps. But we haven't, no. That's because of me, I'm so... My wife will have lots of bumps, but I've had none. Anyway, we're talking about Helen and Mandy, not we. We're on they now, third person plural. Where have we got to? Okay. But I mean, it is true that this relationship, in my assumption anyway, has grown gradually stronger with ups and downs, but now I think it's stronger than ever. And I'm absolutely convinced of that, and I think we both are. And that's why it's so delightful to have them here today. But before we finish this, we need to remember a few other people. Because Francis and I, Helen's parents, are here, but Mandy's parents are not, because they're no longer with us. But Alf and Pat would love to have been here, and I want us to remember them today. Also there, in the same generation, or generation lower, sorry, are Keith. Yeah. Keith's here, where's Keith? Mandy's brother, and Rachel, Helen's sister. Who is as dear to us as Helen, obviously. Rachel has never got married yet, and Helen isn't until today. And of course, there are several members of the next generation, and we're delighted to see them here as well. So that's it as far as I'm concerned. It's lovely to see them. We wish them many delightful years to come, and I'm sure that will happen, and I hope to see a few of them. So I think we should, have we got a glass? Can we drink? Are we toasting?
Let's do another toast.
Okay. Helen and Mandy.
Very difficult to follow that, Ken. I'm Nikki. I'm Mandy's best woman. I've known Mandy for about 35 years. It's an absolute honour and a privilege to be here today. And thank you for inviting us to share this special day with you. It's absolutely beautiful. There's so many stories and memories you both share. And we'll be hearing about those shortly, I believe, from Caroline and Emily as well. But I'm going to concentrate on the early years, mainly because Mandy probably can't remember those. And in fact, Mandy was best woman at my wedding 10 years ago, and obviously today, a day so full of love, takes me back to that moment 10 years ago. The registrar at that moment turned to my wife Lucy and I and said, "You may now kiss." And that moment was slightly ruined by the fact that Mandy, to the right of me, went in for a giant snog with my father-in-law. And so that was a very, very special memory, especially for my father-in-law. This is so typical of Mandy, slightly scatty, but wonderfully warm and of course hilariously funny. Sometimes unintentionally so. Mandy ripped me to shreds in her best woman speech. And I have promised Mandy, obviously, today, that I won't do the same to her. I will keep my word, Mandy, and not mention a certain lady, W. That time you emphatically claimed Harwich in Essex to be prettier than the Marlborough Sounds of New Zealand. Or any various times you have made my life complete hell over the last 35 years. We first met in the 80s at the Vanderbilt Racquet Club in Shepherd's Bush. I walked into the club and on court one was this beautiful, graceful tennis pro who just stole the court. She eventually came up to me and she introduced herself. She said her name is Mandy and she just moved up from Amersham, darling. London. Hold that thought. She was slightly aloof, just beautiful. We became friends during our lunch breaks at the Vanderbilt Racquet Club. We went Spudger-like. We went to the local Spudger-like. Clearly that's where she gleaned her love of fine dining that she shares with Helen. 1 o'clock every day we watched Neighbours and then Pingu and then went to Spudger-like. It was a rock and roll beginning to our friendship. And a few months later we became flatmates. And this is where the mischief started. Mandy got us into trouble. I was Miss Goody Two-Shoes, but Mandy was always getting caught smoking out the window in the non-smoking flat, various things. She constantly broke the rules, which she still does today, but I think that's part of Mandy's charm. And really, I can't tell you about too many other things because I think, hopefully, there's one or two. A, she'll kill me, or there's probably a couple of policemen in the room today, Natalie. And one of Mandy's great pleasures at this time was making fun of me. They're organising inappropriate guerrilla Vikingograms, wallpapering the court of the Vanderbilt with compromising pictures of myself, or organising fabulous birthday parties with people I generally didn't like most of the time. But she thought that fun. As always, Mandy's intentions have always had the best at heart, and everything she created was always slightly funnier than really it should have been. Breakfast at the Kensington Hilton followed many an all-nighter, many a crazy all-nighter, after our 11-hour shifts on the tennis courts. And about that time, Mandy finally came out to me. It was something that I think I'd always known deep down. It was such a relief that we could finally be ourselves after her confession. She finally told me she was in fact not from Bucks. She was an Essex girl. Looking back, Mandy had very dubious taste in those days. Not least the company she kept, obviously, but who will ever forget that pink leather sofa, the shoulder pads the cast of Dynasty would envy, the Purdy Bob, and that Ford Escort XR3i that you raced around town in. She would definitely give Pat's Hedina combined a run for their money. The love of a good party and creating memorable times has always been a gift for Mandy. And Helen now. Mandy's parties are legendary. For all the right reasons. Who doesn't love a bit of a time warp? Maybe we'll see that later. A rendition of Hi-Ho Silver Lining. I hope you've seen that. Or quite frankly, anything by Dolly or ABBA. And if you haven't seen her reenactment of Patricia the Stripper, maybe you're in for a treat later. As a tennis competitor, Mandy was and still is a brilliant tennis player. We'll come on to that in a minute, back a serve. We've still never lost a doubles match as partners, but we've also never finished a set against each other. But I do recall beating her 6-4 on the indoor courts at Queen's, but she claims total amnesia at this moment, which is quite possible, considering Silk Cut wasn't the only thing that she was smoking in the 80s. We have railed constantly on the court for over 30 years, but there is still no other person I would rather play doubles with. Well, actually, perhaps Gigi Fernandez, but I think Helen, you might agree with me on that one, but I said about her. Mandy is also a wonderful tennis teacher. Even though she's yet to learn how to serve herself, and she's a much admired leader, and is truly loved by the people she works with. And I think there's some people in the room who can agree with that today. And those of you who may have played in one of her brilliantly organised tennis tournaments, you would know what a marvellous, bossy head girl she is. Knowing Mandy as we do, we all know she would never ever name drop. I'm sure none of you in the room would have heard how she taught and played tennis with Princess Di. Charles and Heston, she still has a video. Dustin. Hello. He was there.
He was dead at the time.
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman, but I think we probably shouldn't mention him. And she played doubles with Martina, Pat Cash, lunch with Prime Ministers, but most of all, Mandy name drops about her friends and family. She is so proud of everyone's achievements, especially Helen's, and all their acts of kindness. She's a genuine, passionate, kind and selfless person. She is loved by me and everyone else in the room.
there's not much more to go. The 90s was another adventure. Along with our friend Caro, who's also now known Mandy for 30 odd years, we had a small travel business called World Tennis Tours, and we travelled the world playing tennis. So many crazy and delightful memories, and perhaps this is where Mandy started her love of travel that she shares with Helen. And I was trying to remember one of our trips together. And funny enough, the one that Caro and I both remembered was exactly the same one as I've already written down. And this was a particular skiing trip. We had a very jolly morning skiing. It's always difficult for Mandy because she has trouble on a slippery, flat surface, on a slippery slope. So after morning skiing, we had a little bit of a lunch and a few glasses of glue wine, as you do. And then on the way down to get the ski lift back up, Mandy just became like Bambi. She fell over every minute. Caro and I just were crying with laughter. He finally, after about an hour on this tiny slope, managed to get on the ski lift. We were going back up the ski lift, and Mandy turned to Caro at the back and said, "Gosh, isn't it so much harder skiing after lunch?" And I didn't think I drank that much. Anyway, we got to the top of, Mandy was about to get off the ski slope, and she, off the ski lift, and she fell flat on her face. The whole lift had to stop, much to everyone's dismay. And then it was only that moment she realised that she hadn't done her ski boots up after lunch. But I've heard her skiing is somewhat slightly better now than it is. But actually, Lucy, a little bit better than that. Only a little. It was during her days as head tennis professional at the Harbour Club over 25 years ago, 26 I've been corrected today, when Mandy met her soulmate, the beautiful Helen. And to be fair, started punching way above her weight. They are amazing together, and that was just confirmed by today's feeling of overwhelming love in that room. Many of you here today have travelled, dined, partied and spent time and made memories with them, either in London, Whitstable or in various places around the world. Never are they happier when they're having a trip to their dentist, not the dentist, Mandy, prior to her tennis, was a brilliant athlete. I'm not sure if you knew that. 400 metres was her forte. Mandy ran the New York Marathon with me and another friend to fucking beat me. I'm glad you brought that up. In 2000, another great memory. She arrives in New York with Helen, and they spent the first 3 days off the plane, travelling miles and miles around Macy's, partying non-stop, and this was her like pre-marathon preparation. But despite her shopping, she still managed to run the New York Marathon in amazing time. That was a pretty special memory there.
2 hours.
It was at least 3.5. 4.5. Mandy has many wonderful childlike qualities. She's the best ever godmother to our children. She has a gift and connection with children, and all her godchildren, nieces and great-nieces adore her. She's incredibly generous and kind. Her friends and family are everything to her. As Ken already mentioned, her family are here today, but 2 very special people are missing. And I would actually like to raise a glass as well, because I recall the 30th birthday party at the Villa di Cesare, you dancing with your father, to Frank Sinatra, which hopefully we'll celebrate and toast later. But to Pat now for 2 days. And like any true Essex family, they would be over the moon that you've married a doctor and not young men. Mandy, you're a gorgeous, generous, crazy, beautiful friend with the most wonderful sense of humour, whose friendships I treasure, whose company we all adore. I couldn't be happier for you today to finally put a ring on that finger and marry Helen. It's been a long time, but it's been worth the wait. Simi described you today as just one giant hug, And it's a beautiful analogy there, because you make everyone feel special, everyone feel welcome. You put everyone before yourself. You'd give your shirt off your back to anyone in this room. You're truly beautiful and generous friends. It is a privilege to know you both. And whilst, as a best woman, I'm meant to give you advice to newlywed couples, but when two people have been together for 25 years, then it is really you that should be giving us the advice.
Yeah.
The only advice I can give is keep doing what you're doing. Every day is indeed special and must be treasured. Keep being kind to each other, keep laughing, and find the beauty in the small things. Keep being amazing friends to each other and to us all. Please raise a glass to Mandy and Helen. Congratulations to you both, and thank you. Uncompromising, unconditional love. So Mandy and Helen.
But then she was pretty pleased that Helen was a doctor. But her latter years of her life, sadly she had dementia, but as far as I'm concerned, she died a happy woman because she thought Helen was a telephonist. 329611. Hello! That's all she said for the latter years. Well, anyway, all I can say is this is one of the best days of my life. Apart from, it becomes equal to my nieces, but I would love everyone. Helen is the love of my life, and she is my soul partner, and I adore her. And there are some people that obviously have some presents in front of them, of which we could not have managed this wedding. Oh, shut your fucking face. Anyone that knows us will be surprised by that. There are some thank yous that I would love to make. David has printed everything. We love you, David. We do. We love you, David.
We do. David, we love you.
Oh, David, we love you. Yes, we do. And Emily and Emma have been absolutely instrumental in making this happen. So I Victoria has created all of these amazing herbs, and she will say, it's February and it's not the best time for herbs. So do not judge me on this. Victoria has a company called British Herbs. She is the chief packer, chief executive, chief director. And if you want to take the herbs home, please do, but please bring them to our house first. Megan and Simi are our fashionistas. They help dress us. They gave us an amazing discount, which was less than £1,000 a day. So thank you for that discount. Sally and Lou, thanks for the video. We'll see if it's moving, but Sally, you've been really still with that video. Have you noticed? I've given her lessons. Nick, my best person. Bet and Westy for tasting. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody else, but all I can say is there's so much love in this room, and it is emanating from us to you, and I can't thank you enough for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. We've waited 26 years, and I think it's been worth the wait. Today has been amazing, so I hope everybody will join me in raising a glass. And for those who can still stand, please do. And just say congratulations to Helen and Mandy.
my dearest friends. You've been absolutely wonderful to me, the heart of my life, and I love you. And I'm happy you got married just as I told you to. What lovely words.
What she said.
Cheers!
Hi Helen, hi Mandy. It's absolutely wonderful and so special being here. About bloody time, I know last we spoke about it around the campfire somewhere in Namibia. So yeah, so special being here. Really special day, super awesome, congratulations, and look forward to seeing you soon when I'm back in London end of April. Lots of love. Cheers! There we go.
So, should we get my way to your way, John?
You go first.
Now, has anyone got a message for the happy couple? Nice message.
So, if you started. Congratulations! Start again. So, congratulations, Helen and Mandy. I love you very much.
Congratulations, Helen and Mandy. Congratulations, I love you very much.
That was just much, wasn't it? Can you do it again?
No, she's not doing it. She's actually filming.
You're filming it. We're delighted that after 26 years you decided to take this bold step in your relationship, and we're really, really very pleased to be here to help celebrate it, and it means a lot to us that you've invited us. Thank you, we love you very much indeed.
Now, I understood that you were going to ask us questions rather than actually give a speech.
So, one question I have. If the lovely couple were a very famous lovely couple, who would they be?
Helen won.
Well, congratulations, and I love you both very much. HC, you have been so much of a mentor and so much of a friend to me over the years. And I think if you two were a famous couple, you are Posh and Bex, absolutely down to the T. You just need to work on your tats. That's tats with an A. Tats. Tattoos. Tats. Okay. Not your tags. Not your tattoos.
We need to sort the enunciation out.
So my famous couple is Lauren McCall and Humphrey Bogart. And I can't decide like which one is which because they both hold like characteristics of either. But I love both, and I love both of them very much. And I know that you're going to be really happy together because you are really happy together. And I'm so happy to be here. And I was so moved by your ceremony as well. So thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to many more years with both of you.
And it's only 3:30. This is what we're like now. So keep that in. I think you're like Kate and Wills. I think you're on the ascendancy and you're royal to all of us. I love you very much.
Woo-woo! Thank you, ladies.
Hello, darling Mandy and Helen. I'm missing the judge, not by my side, but just wanted to say it's been an absolute privilege.
Did you need one?
Privilege. I've got a judge now. Absolute privilege to have met you, to have known you, to have had the best holiday romance ever, and to be here on this gorgeous, gorgeous day. What a ceremony. Really beautiful, really moving. Love that you could walk in those heels, Helen. Would never have believed it. You are just fab, the two of you, and we adore you. Hope you have a fantastic day and the best time